I'm Evelyn Isima, the president and founder of Green Environment Promotion. I have championed environmental management for the past 15 years. It is true climate change is real in the world, in Uganda, in Kigezi, and definitely it impacts on tourism. We have to admit that most of the tourism activities, that happen within the environment space. We have two types of tourism: the mainstream tourism and community tourism. Most of the tourists that come to visit the wildlife, and the wildlife takes place in the natural parks, where the primates, gorillas, and other animals are. And definitely, if climate change affects these areas, these spaces, then the tourists who come over from all over the world will definitely, not enjoy these facilities and these areas and spaces. So climate change is real, and I think we have to ensure we protect and conserve the environment to ensure that tourism that we champion is really boosted. Tourism in Kigezi is real, and we are benefiting from tourism in Kigezi. And Lake Minyonyi is one of the tourism destinations. Bwindi is one of the tourism destinations, and we must admit that because of climate change, we've had a lot of landslides. Usually when the rains rain a lot, and the roads are so impassable, and that has definitely hampered the tourism in the region. For those who usually go to Hija, where the gorillas are, when it rains a lot, the roads are eroded. There's a lot of landslides, and that also definitely hampers tourism, because if the roads are blocked, then there's no way that tourists will drive to these destinations. So if we do not address the issue of climate change, then we will have it will definitely impact on the tourism activity. Definitely, when climate change is affected, you see the water levels tend to rise and then decrease. So if these are affected, then definitely in the long run, the climate change will affect the tourism destinations in the future, both the lakes, both the wildlife, both the forests, these destinations where people usually go.
Much climate change has had a very big impact on tourism industry, because this is something that happens, that you find that we have prolonged rainy season, prolonged dry season for a long time. And whenever this happens, it of course compromises the day-to-day operations of the tourism industry, amongst other sectors like agriculture, infrastructure, many things. So, in the tourism industry, for example, when there are too much prolonged rains, like how we have seen them happening in Kigezi and the rest of Uganda, you find there is a lot of landslides, a lot of flooding. Roads have been destroyed, housing units have been destroyed, and you find that it's hard for tourists, for example, to come and move across these other roads that have been damaged. So this one, of course, has to alter their plans, and this is a bit compromising to their daily activities. But also now, like crop damage poses a very big risk, because the prices of agricultural products will have to increase, because people have not harvested too much of their crops and animals have been destroyed, and this puts high prices on the tourism industry, in that if some people had booked area on given prices, they will find things have already altered. And climate change has also tried to shrink the habitats for our animals, which attracts tourists. For example, we find that people have been chased from the hills because of the climate issues, and now they are encroaching on the wetlands habitats of crested cranes and other animal species, and of course other plant species which are of great tourism importance. We have seen animals migrating because they cannot get food in particular places, and some of course die because maybe of too much dry season, because they do not have what to eat. So all this climate change, now at the end of the day, you find that it is shrinking the tourism space in terms of variability, spatial and temporal variability of all these species that that are of great focus, and it is basically a hindrance. But this can change. This can change, of course. First of all, we have to understand that this has come, and we need to see how to live with climate change. So now, mitigation, resilience issues, approaches need to be put into considerations. We need to know that climate is changing, but the main cause is on that anthropogenic part, on the human. It is human-induced. For example, the global warming, which is part of climate change, is because we have totally reduced the quantity of flora, of vegetation. Vegetation, spatial distribution of vegetation is completely shrinking, and this could be the biggest problem, of which we are producing a lot of carbon, and this carbon is trapped. Is not utilized by these plants to be able to manufacture as our own food. So what we need to do is we have to increase on vegetation. We practice smart-based agriculture around our homes. We make sure that each family make sure that they are compound, there are at least fruit trees, there are vegetables around. We try to increase the vegetation, but also we have good laws, policies in the country which aim at mitigating climate change and making sure that we have sustainable natural resources management. But the problem has been with the implementation due to very many other issues. Yeah, our communities are not so much aware, but also the political will is a bit lacking. So if strengthen it, we could really have these policies, laws and regulations at play, and all this could be a good way to go. But also the government needs to put in more effort, especially in tarmacking the tourism roads, because whenever it rains too much, then you find that most of these roads are destroyed by the flooding. And so if we could now tarmac these roads, make sure that their drainage systems are okay, then this one could also be of a good help for our tourism industry. The approaches in terms of bringing different parties together is very much important at our local level, at our regional level, our national level. Then other regional levels like East Africa, West Africa, whatever, and then the international community. Our country ratifying to these agreements, treaties, conventions is very much key, because these conventions have very pertinent parties. The research has been done, and so we discuss issues which are practical, out of research, out of experience, out of history, and of which, if our countries ratify to this, that means that is a very good step. The other issue is implementing those other agreed upon principles from these treaties and conventions. But that is a very good way to go. If implemented in our countries, in our regions, then we shall be able to mitigate and address climate change issues.